Hello everyone and welcome to episode 12 of the Founder Fit podcast. My name is Damien and I have the man Scott to the left of me. And today, on today's episode of the podcast, we are going to be talking about a topic that is very fundamental to success, especially to entrepreneurs, business owners, and if you're here listening, you are definitely going to be one of those people. And we're going to be talking about habits and the importance and the power of habits. And a lot of success and who we are really stems off the habits that we do daily, that we do weekly. And when we look to see, if someone is achieving or not achieving, if they're burnt out or if they're feeling good, it often always stems back to the habits that they have, that they're doing on a daily and a weekly basis. So James Clear, he has a famous quote: "You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems." And systems is another word for habits, because it's our habits that we ingrain in ourselves, that become part of us. This is how we start to create and form our identity. And it's the result of all those habits that then, do produce ultimately your result. So we're going to dive into it today. This is a huge topic. And when we work with people and we help people, create success, improve their performance in their business, the very first thing that we do is we dive into and we look at all of their habits. And most of the time, that's where, we can see the problems and we can also, make the improvements there. So it's going to be an exciting episode today.
Awesome, yeah. And guys, if you haven't read that book, Atomic Habits by James Clear, that is your first step after this podcast, is download that one or buy that off Amazon. It will change your game and the way you see habits entirely. Because habits they're a science. It's not an emotional thing. It's a scientific thing. It's a logical thing. It's understanding your goal, and then it's breaking it down into the habits that'll achieve that goal. And that's essentially how you get anywhere with anything that you're striving for. And it doesn't matter if it's business related or life or fitness or whatever it may be. It is ultimately your habits which are going to determine whether you hit that goal or not. And the man, the great Tony Robbins, of course, he has a great quote, which is, "It's not what we do that separates or shapes our lives, it's what we do consistently." So the idea behind that, again, it's consistency, and we've spoken about this before. And you're always going to hear us repeat things, because ultimately success or achievement, it's not some, and I've said this before, it's not some godly sort of, it's not something that anyone can achieve. And that is the beauty of this. Again, I've told my story before. I come from a very average background, very average surroundings. And, I had some challenges in my life which sent me on a path of personal development. And it was at that point where I was able to break the old habits, form new ones. And the moment when I started to do that, I started to see my life go in that different direction and start to see the success compound. And again, it always starts small. It starts with the first $100,000. It starts with the first team member. It starts with the first, scalable business and scalable system. And then it compounds as long as, again, your habits are in check and you are consistently executing on those habits.
Huge. And when it comes to habits and it comes to identity, because a lot of us, we have a story, we have a background, and that background is why we do certain things. So what can happen from that is we get it mixed up. We believe that our identity creates our habits. We think that, because I grew up a certain way or have a certain belief, that's why I do things a certain way. But it's actually the opposite. It's our habits that then create our identity. So that's why anyone can change. And if you want to change your identity, so if you are stuck, if you are not creating all the success in your business, in your life, if you're unhealthy and you want to be fitter, you want to be healthier, you don't have to become that person first and then pick up the habits along the way. Or, I don't have those habits because this is who I am. You change the habits. And then once you change your habits and then do them consistently, that forms the new identity. So when it comes to, and we work obviously with business owners, entrepreneurs, that's why it's so important that we have to break down your habits and change them. And we just have to reverse engineer, okay, what are the habits of successful people? What are the habits of people running $1 million businesses? Now let's start to break those habits down and inject them into your life. And if you do that, that's why, there is nothing special about anyone. It's just the habits that we do. And, then that creates identity, creates belief, and the knock-on effect goes on from there, which is really cool. So I've always said it, imagine who you are now and the person you want to be. Now, let's just say you wanted to vote, right, to elect that person into power, into your life. If you had 2 boxes in front of you, think of your habits as like a vote card, right? So it's like if I want to be healthier and if I want to get in shape and I go to the gym, I'm putting like a vote or a habit into the healthy version of me. But if I don't go to the gym and I sleep in, then I'm putting a vote card or a habit card into the unhealthy version of me, if that makes sense. So think about like every choice, every decision, every habit you have. Are you voting for the person you want, or are you voting for the person you don't want? It's a really great way to really look at everything that you do every single day and just realize that you have the power. You're the one doing the votes. You're the one doing the habits. It's just, is it going to the person you want to be or the person you are or you don't want to be anymore? So it's a really good way to break it down. So let's look at some other ways. So here are 3 great steps that you can now start to look at your habits and then start to change them. So the first thing to do is actually take a moment and just audit your habits. Write them all down. Start to reflect the areas and the habits that you are currently doing. Where are those votes going? So that's the first thing. Second thing that we want you to do, instead of focusing on all of them, just pick one. Pick one habit that you can identify that is a weak habit, that you're like, okay, this is something I do. This is something that goes towards the person I don't want to do, okay? So we're going to identify one weak habit. And then the second thing, and this is our third point here, is now let's replace that habit with a stronger habit. So a habit that now works towards the person you want to do. So this is obviously, taking just one habit and, changing it for a more positive. Now you might have 10, 20, 30 habits. Again, you can't do it all at once, but if we can just start with one, make that shift, and then over time do the second or third, this is huge. This is the start of changing all of your results.
Really good, really powerful. I love that voting idea. I call it a T intersection, a moment in time. And it's exactly what Damien's saying. There's always, throughout your life, throughout your day, you have moments in time, you have options. It's like, I woke up today really sore. And I was like, damn, it's a conditioning day. So it's like heavy cardio, lots of reps. And the last thing I actually wanted to do was train. And that's a moment in time, right? Like I'm a big boy. I could easily say, look, I'm not going today. And no one's really there to stop me. Besides this guy, but but I could have made that decision. But in that moment in time, I said to myself, is that who you are? Is that what we do? Is that going to move you forward? Is that the person that you want to become? Is that your identity? Is that how winners win? And it was as simple as that. So instead of going left, comfort, I chose right. I chose the discipline. I chose the habit. And I chose to be consistent. And I know that that's going to pay off. I'm already seeing it pay off. I'm increasing my lean muscle right now. I'm getting fitter, faster. I can see it. But it's only because of making that habit a consistent behavior and then a part of my identity, so it just gets done. So really good point. I wanted to touch really quickly on confidence. A lot of people, and you're like, isn't this about habits? A lot of people, and I coach and have spoken to and have trained and have worked with and have employed and have all kinds of things, right? People that really lack confidence. And I actually think that that's one of the biggest issues in life these days. When you kind of look at the world that we're in these days, especially with social media, like it's designed to destroy your confidence because you're just comparing. That's essentially what it is. Why aren't I in the jet? Why don't I have that body? Why don't I have those, the Lambo, the clothes, the Gucci, the this, the boyfriend, the girlfriend, the luxury, the life, the food, the whatever, the ecom. And it really destroys confidence. But the question is what builds confidence? What actually builds confidence is results. What creates results? Habits. And so if this is you, if you truly believe right now, and you got to ask yourself, I always sort of ask yourself this question, if you were to rate your level of confidence, where it's like, I'm 10 out of 10, I get up and I take massive action at everything that's in front of me. Any challenge comes along, I go and I break through it, and I've just got no issue. There's never any hesitation. There's never any uncertainty. And I just keep on taking action. And I'm not saying you win every time, but do you take the action without even thinking, without that moment of hesitation or uncertainty? Most people don't have that. Most people overthink and they just overanalyze, and they ultimately just scare themselves away from taking action. So what's going to build, if this is you, what's going to build that confidence? Well, the first thing is not just say, well, I'm confident. And that could certainly help. You certainly want to affirm and tell yourself that you are confident. But even better is to form habits that's going to create confidence. So for example, if you're not confident about your body, summer's coming up, we're here in Australia, summer's coming. Everyone's going to be shedding off those layers and looking at themselves in the mirror and asking themselves the question, damn, what's going on? Or in business, you've lost that sale, or you've lost that teammate, your marketing's not working, you're not getting any likes or clicks or leads or whatever it may be. And it could be, having a toll on your confidence. So what you need to do is reverse engineer that. Okay, well, what is the habit? Ask yourself, what is the habit that I need to create to increase that confidence in that particular area? For example, marketing. I'm not confident. I don't know social media. I'm not confident. I'm an accountant. I don't know social media. I don't want to get in front of a camera. That scares the shit out of me to talk to, people on social media, or to not get likes, or to get judged, or to get hate comments, or whatever it may be. The key is that you need to then create the habit that creates the confidence. So going back to marketing, okay, well, what does that mean? I'm going to post every single day. I'm going to do a selfie story every single day. I'm going to whatever it may be. But ideally, what that then does is create a habit, and you do that habit consistently, and then it has to lead to confidence, because you are creating a new identity at the same time.
Huge. And I guess if you're lacking confidence, what is going to also be a sign of that is you're going to be someone who feels stuck, right? Lacking confidence, feeling stuck, they're going to go hand in hand, because when we have confidence, we're probably going to start to build a bit of momentum. We're going to feel like we're progressing. So if you're someone that feels stuck, and this is a really great point, is because most people set goals that their habits cannot support. All right. So I'm going to say it one more time. You set goals that your habits cannot support. And because entrepreneurs, naturally, we're very ambitious people, and we want to set big goals, and we can get really motivated and inspired. But then why can't we continue to make progress? Why do we get stuck? And that comes back to reflecting on your habits. So a step here that I have that you can take, and this is actually what I've noticed studying, again, very successful people, is less is more. Because we just jam our days too much. And if we are doing too much, what does that mean about our focus, right? And if we're getting overwhelmed, if we're stressed, our confidence is going to be dwindling. It's like everything is then working against you. So less is more. So what we can do, and this is what I suggest, is remove 2 habits that waste your time. Okay, so easy ones, and we're all guilty of this, but you got to remove it. It's like scrolling on Instagram, just reacting to things that just don't need to take all your time and attention, and just doing tasks that don't actually, again, move you towards your goals. Entrepreneurs, we're problem solvers as well by nature, so we like to solve everyone else's problems sometimes, except our own. So we got to understand that less is more. So when we do less as well, how can we truly reflect on what to take out and what to focus on? So we need to anchor your day. And this is something that we do religiously and we preach to everyone, is you got to anchor your day. So anchoring your day means really setting the intention, setting your focus right away when you wake up, and not letting the world, right, just dictate what we focus on or what we think about. So we start that by gratitude, right? Gratitude, we're definitely going to do an episode on gratitude very soon. Amen. Because it's a huge topic. But, get gratitude into your life straight away. Raise that state, right? Then you can focus on planning. What do I have to do today intentionally? What do I need to do to move forward? This is going to create clarity and focus right from the word go, right? This is going to feed into your confidence, and this is going to feed into getting unstuck, right? Creating these habits. And what I just said, gratitude and planning, it's a habit. If you do it every single day, there's no wonder why those people have more focus, more clarity. If you have that, you're gonna start to put more votes into the habit, into the person you want to be. And also, this is another quote I love by Jim Rohn. He says, "When does the day start? Starts when it ends." So what this means is, and the point here I have for you is, make sure we're doing revenue producing habits before anything else. So obviously, I think getting up in the morning, having a glass of water, a bit of movement exercise, these are just like standard habits. But then when you start your day, start to do tasks that actually move your business, move your revenue first. And this goes back to the Jim Rohn quote. It's, how much anxiety, and I guarantee we've all been here before as well, is you can be stressed out creating anxiety because you're putting off things that you need to do that are important and that move your business forward. But if you can just go, okay, first thing I have to do today is that hard task, right? And you get into the habit of completing the hard task right away, you remove the stress, you remove the anxiety, but what an amazing habit you're instilling in yourself. That's just gonna, that you are just gonna be doing revenue producing or growth producing habits right away. It's a great habit to get involved, to inject into your week.
100%. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And to reiterate that is absolutely what is going to keep you in the game. The biggest issue I've ever had in my business, and what I've also learned from coaching so many people, is that we genuinely, first of all, we gravitate to what we like, and it's usually not things that are uncomfortable, like sales calls and rejection and things like that, like revenue producing. Very few people really enjoy the just making money side in business. It's actually really interesting. And I can relate to that. I'm an artist at heart, which means I love the product side of things. But the problem is when you get so bogged down and busy in the product, it doesn't have the focus of the revenue generating, and then that will catch you at some point in business. I guarantee if you're in business, you've experienced this. So that's a massive point. To flow on from that, another one that I see, and again, can you relate? It's most people are so busy being busy. I mean, let's be honest. Can you relate? Do you focus on one or two major rocks per day or even per week, moving those major rocks forward in your business? Or every single day, do you wake up in this sort of stressed, anxious, behavioral type pattern where you just start doing random things? And again, super guilty, and have coached many people in this same pattern. Hence why, again, let's be honest, 95% of businesses don't survive 5 years. 90% of businesses shut down in the first 2 to 3 years, and then it's a small few that then take a couple more years, and then it's like 99 after 10 or whatever it may be. Long story short, 9 out of 10 are screwed within 2 years. They're terrible stats. And it's not because they don't have the skills or the passion. It's because they are not doing the things that make them productive and that generate the revenue. Because at the end of the day, the revenue is the oxygen, right? Without oxygen, you're dead. Simple. So the idea is with these habits is certainly you've got to formulate habits that are, that balance your business out. You can't just be generating revenue. You need to watch out for HR, marketing, your product. You need to constantly iterate your product and keep advancing that and staying ahead of market trends. But at the end of the day, the principle is are you busy being busy, or are you extremely intentional, habitually, meaning a habit, moving those big rocks forward in your business, generating revenue, generating leads, consistently following up with your customer service and your client retention? Are you habitually focused on attacking all of those pillars consistently, or are you scattered and busy randomly across some of them? I mean, ask that question, right? Because again, I'm super guilty of this, which means that a lot of other people are too. So I'll ask that question again. Are you hyper focused on creating habits that move big rocks forward consistently across all areas of your business? Or are you busy being busy and scattered across some areas of your business? Ask that question. If you're the latter, if you are busy being busy, the first thing that you need to do is take a step back. You need to get very, very clear on, first of all, what are the challenges within your business? And you need to start there. And you need to create the habit that you are going to wake up every day and do the hard thing first, the uncomfortable thing first. This is actually Alex Hormozi. I mean, I'm sure like everyone says it, all the successful people say the same thing, but Alex Hormozi comes to mind. And that's one of his key principles, is always do the hard thing first. Because naturally, again, if we're unconscious of that, naturally we're going to avoid the hard thing, right? And we know, some do, some don't, but let's say we do, we know it's 99 times out of 100, it's the hard thing that's going to move us forward. It's the thing that we're avoiding that we know is actually going to move us forward. So that is absolutely, if you are busy being busy, if you're not moving ahead, do this immediately.
Huge. Well, one quote, or not quote, one principle that I live by. So my strongest skill sets come from being a coach for 18 plus years in the health and fitness space. And I've ran businesses in the meantime, keeping those businesses alive. But one thing that we've always said in health and fitness, and I then understood this didn't just relate to health and fitness. This related to everything. It related to business, relationships, no matter what. And the saying is that methods are many, but principles are few. And when you start to study successful people, and we've had mentors, we've had coaches, we've done plenty of programs. Like Scott said, Hormozi, it doesn't matter, everyone's saying at the top, everyone's saying the same sort of things because the principles of success are the same for everything and everyone. And when we go through the habits like we've done today, these aren't things that, is subjective to our opinion. This is the habits, and these are the things that you need to create in order to create success. And without habits that, without habits that create growth, right, then you're not going to advance. It's as simple as that. We wish we don't actually wish, but it's like business is not about just sitting on at the beach and making money. You got to create the habits that then allow you to grow, and in your growth, in your personal growth, in your discipline, in your ability to do complex tasks and get them done at a high level, that's where all the success is. So your habits are more than just like, I got to get up early, or I got to exercise, or I got to eat good food. It's you got to learn to act like a successful person. If you want to be a millionaire, well, you best have habits of a millionaire. Everything is very, very stereotypical. If you start to break down what someone who's not successful looks like, they have certain habits. If you start to break down, that's all we're doing, breaking down people who are successful, they have certain habits, and you just want to replicate them as much as you can. And then this goes back to it, is you start to realize, wait a minute, all these successful people, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Alex Hormozi, they all have the same sort of habits and character traits. They just apply it into their business, their field. It's as simple as that. And you can do that for you and your business and your life. And that's what's great. Really awesome. So Founder Fit, we're here to help people do that. And we actually have a performance program where we help you go through 28 habits. So it's a 28-day performance program where we go through and we give you 28 different habits with clear actions attached to each of them to help you learn the habits, apply them, and then start to change that identity and that behavior in yourself, which is amazing. So if you want more information on that, we have the link in the description. You can click on that, and there as well, you can actually book in a call with myself to get on a call, so we can actually talk through your situation where you are, and really map out a plan to move you forward as well.
Yeah, and it's a great point. He touched on the 28 different habits, and it's roughly around that. Obviously, a few days of reflection and whatnot, but it's 20 plus different tools, habits that you will learn about and experience. But what it really does, the best part about it, going through that, they're not all going to be relevant. But what you're going to find is that 5 or 6 of them are going to change everything. They are going to unlock you to that next level, or 2, 3, 4 levels above, because it's exactly what you're missing. Because again, you don't fall to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your habits. It's as simple as that. And again, Jim Rohn says it really famously: is you can't out earn who you are. You know what I mean? You can't earn $1 million if you don't have $1 million habits. It's just as simple as that. So the beauty of this 28-day performance program is that you may do some things and you've already done that. Damn, I didn't even think about that. And wow, that's had a huge impact. And oh my God, I didn't even realize how powerful this one is, or whatever it may be. And that's the beauty of it. We're basically, what I look at it like is you're a bucket full of holes. You know, you've got a lot of energy that's flowing out, a lot of opportunity, a lot of energy, a lot of money flowing out. And what we want to do is plug, where are you missing? What are you missing that's going to unlock you into that potential that everyone has, or majority of people have? You truly have the ability to have abundant amount of confidence and take the action, and to have the resilience and everything that comes with, again, the high achievers that you can study instantly now from your smartphone. They all share the same sort of traits, habits, belief systems, values, and hence why, these are the people that we look up to. So again, the 28-day program, performance program, is really about finding the gaps in your psychology, plugging them, mastering them, and then taking you to the next level.
That's it. So guys, you know what to do now. Start to reflect on all your habits, start to change them, and if all else fails, book in that call with us and let's take some action together. So guys, that's it for this episode. We'll see you on the next one. Until then, goodbye.
Now.